Officer Blackwood sees a homeless black man on the courthouse steps and assumes he's just another vagrant to shove aside, another shadow to erase. But what he doesn't know? That man is Elias Carter, a decorated Marine whose name will stop a judge mid-sentence and make a courtroom rise. Stick around, because when Marine justice explodes, Blackwood's badge won't shield him. It'll expose him. Justice doesn't always wear a robe. Sometimes it stands tall in worn boots and demands to be seen. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time you found this video. Don't miss out on future content by subscribing now. Officer Marcus Blackwood grips his nightstick tighter, savoring the raw power surging through his veins as he towers over the disheveled veteran huddled in the courthouse doorway. The man's military bearing means nothing now, just another vagrant polluting his pristine jurisdiction. The early morning light catches his polished badge, sending sharp reflections dancing across the courthouse steps. "On your feet, now!" Marcus Blackwood barks, jabbing the nightstick forward. His voice carries across the plaza, drawing the attention of early morning courthouse staff arriving for work. Perfect. An audience for this display of authority. When the veteran slowly rises, maintaining dignified eye contact that sends an unwelcome shiver down Marcus Blackwood's spine, he steps closer. "You don't belong here. This isn't your personal shelter, soldier boy." "Funny," Carter replies, calm but firm. "I bled for this country while you were learning how to shine that badge." The veteran's quiet response catches him off guard. "Sir, I served this country." Marcus Blackwood cuts him off with a harsh laugh, phone cameras clicking in the growing crowd. "And now you're serving time. Get moving." He grabs the veteran's arm, rough enough to leave marks, savoring the gasps from onlookers. The scene is perfectly framed for their social media posts. #Blackwood brutality already trending within minutes. But something feels wrong when the veteran doesn't resist, just stands straighter, those haunted eyes holding something that makes Marcus Blackwood's certainty waver for a split second. A young clerk rushing past freezes, recognition dawning on her face. "Wait, that's Elias Carter. He's due in Judge Parker's court this morning. She's waiting for him." Marcus Blackwood's grip loosens slightly, that small seed of doubt growing as he processes the name. Judge Parker, the one person in the courthouse whose brother was saved by a Marine in Fallujah. His perfect moment of power suddenly feels fragile as crystal. The veteran, Elias Carter, simply straightens his worn jacket with military precision, those eyes never leaving Marcus Blackwood's face. "We'll see who belongs where, officer," he says quietly, the words carrying weight far beyond their simple meaning. Marcus Blackwood polishes his badge compulsively, watching Carter disappear into the courthouse. The morning sun feels colder now, the weight of his badge heavier. 20 years of enforcing his version of justice, making sure everyone knew their place. Could one vagrant veteran really threaten that? Standing alone on those courthouse steps, Marcus Blackwood remembers his first day with the badge, his training officer's words. "Power isn't just about the uniform, it's about making them feel small." He's perfected that art over 2 decades. But something in Carter's eyes speaks of a different kind of power, one that makes his own feel suddenly hollow. Has anyone ever looked at him with such quiet dignity before? Type "power" in the comments if you've ever felt untouchable, and watch how quickly that can change. A social media influencer narrates, her phone still recording. The hashtag Blackwood brutality climbs higher, each notification on Marcus Blackwood's phone, a tiny hammer blow to his certainty. Will his carefully constructed kingdom of authority survive this morning's encounter? The courthouse doors swing shut behind Carter, with a resonant boom that sounds unnervingly like a judge's gavel, leaving Marcus Blackwood alone with his suddenly uncertain reflection in the courthouse windows. The weight of Jack's Marine Corps pin feels heavier today in my palm, its familiar contours no longer offering their usual comfort. I, Judge Olivia Parker, have always found solace in its solid presence during difficult cases, but now it feels like an accusation. The morning sun streaming through my chamber windows catches on its polished surface, momentarily blinding me. A fitting metaphor for my willful blindness until now. My fingers trace the stack of files before me, each manila folder containing fragments of Elias Carter's descent. Distinguished Marine, decorated hero, now reduced to case number 2023 CR 789. The courthouse clock's methodical ticking seems to mock my carefully constructed world of legal certainty. Tick. Another veteran lost to the system. Talk. Another hero betrayed by the very institution I represent. Your Honor? My law clerk, Sarah Chen, appears at the doorway, her arms laden with even more files. I found the additional records you requested. Mr. Carter's VA appeals, housing applications, medical evaluations. Place them here, I command, my voice maintaining its practiced judicial authority despite the tremor I feel inside. The stack grows higher, a paper monument to systematic failure. My failure. Looking at Carter's service record makes my stomach clench. Fallujah, 2004. The same hell where Jack. I force myself to continue reading. Combat citations, commendations, and then the stark transition. PTSD diagnosis, missed appointments, benefit denials. Each document bears my colleagues' signatures, judges who, like me, chose protocol over humanity. The computer screen flickers as I access the court's database. Carter's prior appearances scroll past. Trespassing, loitering, disturbing the peace. Minor offenses born of desperation, each met with fines he couldn't pay, creating a cycle of deepening poverty. My own signature appears on one such judgment from last year. I hadn't even recognized his name then. Judge Parker? Sarah's voice again. The afternoon session begins in 20 minutes. Thank you, I respond automatically, but my mind is racing. I've processed thousands of cases, each decided with unwavering adherence to precedent and procedure. How many other Elias Carters have I sentenced without seeing the bigger picture? How many heroes have I failed? My hand reaches for Jack's pin again, remembering his words about Carter. He ran through hell itself to pull me out, Liv. Didn't even know me, but he risked everything. Now Carter stands accused in my courtroom, and I'm hiding behind judicial distance like a shield. The afternoon sun shifts, casting long shadows across my desk. A memo from the district court chief judge catches my eye. Maintain appropriate judicial detachment. Ensure consistent application of statutes. Avoid emotional entanglement in cases. Words I've lived by, words that now ring hollow. My computer chimes with a news alert. Another veteran suicide, 3 states away. The article mentions PTSD, homelessness, denied benefits. A familiar pattern. My throat tightens as I realize, this could have been Carter. This could have been Jack. The case files continue their damning testimony. Carter's PTSD evaluations detail hypervigilance, flashbacks, inability to maintain employment. His VA appeals show a labyrinth of bureaucratic requirements, each denial citing some technical deficiency. The system demands paperwork and appointments from a man struggling to remember what day it is. I pull up the security footage from this morning's session. Carter stands at attention despite his worn clothes, military bearing evident even now. How did I miss it? The same stance, the same distant look I've seen in Jack's eyes. The timestamp reads 9:47 a.m. exactly when I was lecturing him about respect for property rights. Sarah returns with court precedents I'd requested, cases supporting the standard response to trespassing charges. The Henderson decision particularly emphasizes, she begins. Not now, I cut her off, perhaps too sharply. The young clerk blinks in surprise. She's never seen me dismiss legal precedent before, but precedent didn't save Jack in Fallujah. Carter didn't check regulations before running into enemy fire. My chambers feel suffocating. The law books lining the walls, once a source of pride, now seem to mock me with their rigid certainty. I stand, pacing, Jack's pin clutched tight enough to leave an impression in my palm. The metal's warmth reminds me of another truth I've been avoiding. Every judgment I've delivered from my elevated bench has real consequences. A knock at the door startles me. Come in, I call, quickly composing my features into judicial neutrality. It's Detective Morris with Carter's current arrest report. His expression suggests he expects the usual routine. Quick review, sign off, next case. Standard trespassing charge, Your Honor, he begins. Subject was found. Subject? I interrupt, my voice sharp. You mean the decorated Marine who saved American lives in Fallujah? Morris shifts uncomfortably. Well, yes, but the current charges… Tell me, Detective, have you reviewed his full history, the service record, the medical evaluations? That's not typically relevant to… It's all relevant! The words escape before I can stop them. Morris stares, clearly thrown by this departure from my usual demeanor. I force myself to lower my voice. Thank you, Detective. I'll review the report thoroughly. After he leaves, I sink back into my chair, shaken by my outburst. The clock shows 1:45 p.m., 15 minutes until I must return to the bench, don my black robe, and decide Carter's fate. The robe that once made me feel powerful now feels like a costume, a prop in a performance of justice. My computer screen still displays Carter's file. A new photo appears in the corner. Jack's social media update. He's getting better. Slowly. Weekly therapy, medication, family support. Everything Carter lacks. The contrast is physically painful. A message pops up from the district attorney's office. Recommend standard sentencing guidelines for Carter case. Standard guidelines. As if anything about this situation is standard. As if you can standardize human trauma and survival. The afternoon sun catches Jack's pin again, and suddenly I'm seeing other faces. Veterans in my courtroom, their stories buried under criminal charges. How many times have I been complicit in this system? How many times have I chosen the easy path of precedent over the harder road of justice? Sarah appears one final time. 5 minutes, Your Honor. The bailiff is ready. I nod, standing to don my robe. Its weight feels different now, less like authority and more like responsibility. Jack's pin sits heavily in my pocket as I gather my files. The clock ticks forward, each second bringing me closer to a decision that will reveal who I truly am, a guardian of law or a guardian of justice. The corridor echoes with my footsteps as I approach the courtroom. Through the door, I can hear the murmur of voices, the shuffle of papers. Carter will be there, standing at attention, carrying invisible wounds and visible poverty. In my pocket, Jack's pin presses against my heart, a small but insistent reminder. Some debts transcend the law. I pause, hand on the doorknob. The system's failures are now brutally clear, mapped in the files on my desk and the pain in Carter's eyes. The question is no longer about maintaining judicial distance. The question is, what am I going to do about it? The bailiff's voice carries through the door. All rise. It's time. I straighten my shoulders, feeling the weight of both robe and revelation. Today, Justice Parker will choose between upholding the law and delivering justice. Today, I'll learn if I'm brave enough to do what's right instead of what's easy. I touch Jack's pin one final time, drawing strength from its presence. Then I push open the door, ready to face the consequences of seeing truth instead of statistics, humanity instead of case numbers, ready to admit that sometimes justice requires us to look beyond the law. A cold sweat breaks across Judge Olivia Parker's forehead as she stares at her phone, the #Marine Justice hashtag burning into her vision. Her chambers, once a sanctuary of order and protocol, now feels like a trap closing in. The morning sun streaming through the window only serves to illuminate the dust particles dancing mockingly around her, like her carefully constructed world falling apart. Her fingers trace the worn edges of Jack's Marine Corps pin, the metal cool against her skin. Each touch brings fresh waves of guilt as social media explodes with Elias Carter's story. The veteran who saved her brother, now facing charges in her very courtroom. A bitter laugh escapes her lips as she scrolls through Twitter. Someone had posted an old photo of Carter in his dress blues, standing proud beside Jack's unit in Fallujah. Your Honor? Her clerk's voice through the intercom makes her jump. The DA's office is on line 1. They're insisting on speaking with you about the Carter case. Judge Parker's hand hovers over the phone, trembling slightly. The prosecution's expectations weigh heavily. They want their deterrent, their example. They want her to be the hammer that drives the nail. But all she can hear is Jack's voice reading his letter. Carter pulled me from that burning Humvee. He didn't even hesitate, Judge. Not for a second. The courthouse pigeons scatter as she approaches the window, their wings beating against the morning air like her heart against her ribcage. 3 news vans have already parked outside, their satellite dishes reaching toward the sky like accusing fingers. Her phone buzzes again. Another notification about #Marine Justice reaching national trending status. She makes the calls anyway, to the VA, to legal aid, to housing services. Each conversation chips away at the wall of judicial neutrality she's built over decades. This is Judge Parker, she says each time, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. I need to discuss an urgent matter regarding a veteran in my jurisdiction. The responses are always the same. Bureaucratic roadblocks, waiting lists, limited resources. But she persists, each rejection feeding the growing rebellion in her heart. The prosecution's words echo in her mind. We need to send a message about vagrancy, Your Honor. Make an example. An example. She looks at Jack's pin again, remembering how proudly he spoke of Carter's courage under fire. Now Carter sleeps in doorways while she sits in her chambers, draped in the authority of the law. The irony tastes like ash in her mouth. Her clerk appears at the door, face pale. Judge Parker, the media's requesting statements. And there's a viral video circulating. Someone filmed Mr. Carter helping another homeless vet during last week's freeze warning. It's reached CNN. Judge Parker closes her eyes, feeling the weight of her robe like chain mail. Protocol dictates neutrality, demands she maintain the appearance of impartiality. But as #Marine Justice lights up her phone again, she realizes some chains are meant to be broken. Get me Carter's public defender, she says finally, her voice carrying the weight of a decision that will either define or destroy her career. And contact Veterans Legal Services. This stops now. The pigeons return to her windowsill as she makes the calls, their soft cooing a counterpoint to her racing heart. Tomorrow, she'll enter her courtroom not just as Judge Parker, but as Jack's sister. As someone who owes a debt that no legal precedent can erase. Drop 1. If you believe justice sometimes means breaking the rules you've sworn to uphold. In the gathering dusk of her chambers, Judge Parker removes her robe, folds it carefully, and places Jack's pin atop the black fabric. Tomorrow will change everything. But for tonight, she sits in the growing darkness, watching the city lights flicker on, each one a reminder of where Carter might be sleeping if she fails. The law demands her neutrality. Humanity demands her action. And somewhere in Fallujah's distant memory, a Marine pulls her brother from a burning Humvee, never expecting the debt would come due in her courtroom. From the story. Memory and Part 4. Content. I'll create the Rebellion How to Break Free section, establishing Judge Olivia Parker as our antagonist and maintaining her exact name throughout. Here's the expanded narrative from her perspective. Judge Olivia Parker's hands trembled slightly as she adjusted her black robes, the weight of Jack's Marine Corps pin feeling heavier than ever against her collar. The afternoon sun streamed through the courthouse windows, catching on the dozens of phone cameras already raised, their lenses like accusatory eyes. Marine. Judge case was trending. She'd seen it on her phone minutes earlier. All rise for the Honorable Judge Olivia Parker, the bailiff's voice boomed, each word hammering against her carefully constructed walls of judicial propriety. The familiar routine felt foreign now, tainted by her secret knowledge of the defendant's identity. Judge Olivia Parker gripped her gavel, knuckles whitening. The smooth wood offered no comfort today, not with Elias Carter standing at attention before her bench, his military bearing unmistakable even in civilian clothes, the same bearing that had saved Jack in Fallujah. Her throat tightened. These proceedings are now in session, Judge Olivia Parker declared, her voice carrying the authority she'd spent years perfecting. But underneath that authority lurked something new. Fear. Fear of exposure. Fear of breaking protocol. Fear of the choice looming before her. The courtroom buzzed with whispers. Someone's phone chimed. Another social media alert, no doubt. The story was spreading like wildfire. Judge Olivia Parker could almost hear the headlines forming. Judge presides over case of brother's savior. Her fingers found Jack's pin again, tracing its edges. The metal was warm from her constant touching. In her mind, she heard her mentor's voice. Impartiality is our cornerstone, Olivia. Without it, we're nothing but chaos in robes. The evidence lay before her. Trespassing, seeking unauthorized shelter, disturbing the peace. Standard charges for the homeless, standard procedures she'd followed countless times. But nothing was standard about this case. About this man who'd pulled her brother from burning wreckage while under heavy fire. Judge Olivia Parker's voice cut through the tension. Before we proceed, I have a statement to make. The cameras inched closer. Carter's eyes met hers, still unaware of their connection, but showing the same steady resolve she remembered from Jack's stories. This court, she paused, her carefully constructed professional facade cracking. This court finds itself in an unprecedented situation. The pin seemed to burn against her collar now. I am ethically bound to disclose a conflict of interest. The gallery erupted in murmurs. Judge Olivia Parker saw her career flashing before her eyes. Years of careful advancement, of maintaining perfect judicial distance, all balanced on this moment. The defendant, Mr. Carter, served with distinction in Fallujah. Her voice grew stronger with each word. During his service, he saved the life of Marine Corps Lieutenant Jack Parker, my brother. Gasps filled the courtroom. Phones buzzed frantically as #Marine Judge case exploded online. Carter's eyes widened in recognition, finally connecting the pieces. Judge Olivia Parker stood, her robe billowing slightly. I hereby recuse myself from these proceedings. The gavel felt like lead in her hand. Furthermore, I am dismissing all charges against Mr. Carter and ordering an immediate review of his VA benefits status. The crack of the gavel echoed like a gunshot. This court also strongly recommends immediate enrollment in Veterans Assistance Programs. Her voice softened. We owe our veterans more than prosecution for seeking shelter. And Officer Blackwood, Judge Parker adds, her voice icy calm. You are hereby suspended pending an internal review. The room gasps. Cameras flash. For the first time, Blackwood looks small. A hush falls over the room, as if history holds its breath. Then, the courtroom exploded into chaos. Judge Olivia Parker removed Jack's pin, holding it out toward Carter. This belongs with the man who earned it through his actions, not his sister who merely kept it safe. Carter looks at the pin, then at the judge. I didn't expect repayment. I just wanted to be seen. Judge Parker nods. Today, the world saw you. As security cleared the courtroom, Judge Olivia Parker sat alone at her bench watching her career implications trend on Twitter. But for the first time in years, her reflection in the polished surface of her desk showed someone she recognized. Not just Judge Parker, but Olivia, Jack's sister, a woman who chose justice over protocol. Drop 2 if you believe justice should outweigh procedure. Share this story to remind others that sometimes doing right means breaking your own rules. Marine Judge case. Standing in my chambers as the sun sets, I, Judge Olivia Parker, watch my reflection in the window fade into darkness as the burnished Marine Corps pin that Jack gave me catches the last rays of sunlight, sending prisms dancing across the official court transcript on my desk. My fingers trace over the embossed seal, remembering how sure I was of protocol just 24 hours ago. The viral videos have exploded across every platform. Justice. For Vets is trending nationwide, with millions sharing the moment I descended from the bench to personally escort Elias Carter to the VA liaison. My judicial robe, once my armor of detachment, now feels different against my shoulders, lighter somehow, as if weighted with purpose rather than mere authority. Your Honor, my clerk appears at the door. CNN is requesting a statement about the new veteran defendant protocols. I hold up my hand, needing this moment of solitude. The magnitude of today's events washes over me. Carter's dignified stance in my courtroom, so like Jack's, the trembling in my voice as I revealed our connection, the astonished murmurs when I recused myself and announced the creation of a special veterans advocacy program. My phone buzzes with another notification. The American Bar Association wants me to keynote their upcoming conference on judicial reform. The irony doesn't escape me, how breaking protocol may reshape it. I pick up Jack's pin, remembering his words about Carter. He didn't follow the rulebook that day in Fallujah. He followed his heart. That's why I'm alive. Through my window, I hear the evening bells of St. Michael's Cathedral, their deep tones carrying across the city. Carter is already settled in temporary housing, his VA benefits fast-tracked. My judicial career may face scrutiny from the old guard, but something more important has been salvaged, our collective conscience, our debt to those who served. I turn to my computer and begin typing. New protocol for veteran defendants in the Superior Court. The words flow easily now, each paragraph illuminated by understanding. Sometimes justice wears a different face than the one we're trained to recognize. Sometimes it looks like a homeless Marine standing at attention in a courtroom, or a judge remembering that before she wielded a gavel, she was a sister who almost lost a brother. The church bells fade into silence. I touch Jack's pin one last time before clipping it to my robe, no longer a hidden talisman, but a visible reminder. In the morning, there will be questions, debates, perhaps even challenges to my decision. But tonight, in the growing darkness of my chambers, I know with unshakable certainty that true justice requires us to remember our debts to those who served. I imagine Jack watching the news tonight, seeing what his pin helped inspire. "You'd be proud, little brother," I whisper to the empty room. "We finally got it right." Share your story of when justice meant breaking the rules to do what's right. #JusticeForVets. The final lines of my new protocol take shape on the screen, illuminated by the city lights below. Tomorrow, they'll become official court policy. Tonight, they're a promise kept, not just to Carter or Jack, but to every veteran who ever stood guard over our freedoms, only to find themselves standing alone before our bench. The Marine Corps pin catches one last gleam from my desk lamp as I prepare to leave, its surface now bearing the proud patina of purpose restored. Sometimes the greatest truth justice teaches us is that it's never too late to remember who we are and who we serve.